Welcome back. It's the Monday edition of All Angles here on ENCA. Mandatory vaccination could be on the cards as cases continue to surge. Government's task team on COVID-19 is already discussing this issue. The latest rise in numbers is attributed to the new Omicron variant. Some universities have already adopted an on-campus mandatory vaccination policy. This could see more institutions doing the same. But what are students saying about this issue? ENCA's Nqobile Madlala is finding out for us and joins us now for an update. I know that Wits University, Nqobile, where I am registered, already has taken that decision on mandatory vaccination, but they are not the only ones. Certainly a number of these institutions taking that decision that they will become mandatory vaccinated zones. How is that landing with the various stakeholders within higher education?
Well, as from the higher education, this is of course the right direction. But however, from some of the SRC members that we have spoken to, as well as some of the students, everyone's still feeling like there's a need for them to be given a chance to decide whether or not they do want to vaccinate. But they are not against the idea at this point. They were saying to us that they just would like a bit of time to look into it and think about it and not be forced into it. We do understand that when we were at TUT, they already have some of people vaccinating on campus, and you'll know already there was a bit of an outbreak there, which they are controlling at this point. But I just want to bring in higher health. Prof, of course you would know this better. How are the students reacting to understanding that there could possibly be a mandatory vaccination?
So you're absolutely right, and thank you, Nqobile. We have 1/3 of our students which have either been vaccinated so far or in the vaccination program, which means they've already got the first dose and they are waiting for the next dose. And that's from our data perspective. We have then something called the middle 1/3. The middle 1/3 are those students that we have checked from our ground data perspective who wants to get vaccinated. And while they want to get vaccinated, they have still a lot of questions to ask. They're still making their time. And what we are doing is we are engaging with them. And then when you went to TUT, similarly you go to UP, you'll go to our TVET colleges, deep down in Bizana, deep down in Guguletu, in our community colleges, you will see that these engagements are happening for the middle 1/3. Now the middle 1/3 population that I'm talking about wants to get vaccinated but have questions like, will my testicles become enlarged? Will they have questions like, will I reproduce? So they're reading social media, they understand the reason of vaccination, but they have questions. It's fair for them to ask these questions. And then we are ensuring them that we've got 3.5 billion people data from the global world, that we are saying that reproduction is still happening. There's no cases of testicle hypertrophy. So it's a continuous engagement between them and us. And then the last 1/3 is the one which is completely under the anti-vaxxer influence, which are absolutely not willing, not ready. So the question was, how do we get this middle 1/3 vaccinated so that we have 2/3 people vaccinated, and then a peer-to-peer influence will bring that other 1/3 into the vaccination.
I mean, it's quite concerning, of course, because this group we're talking about is between 18 and 34. At this point, we're understanding that those are most of the people that are not vaccinated.
Could you repeat?
It's quite concerning because this group that you're talking about is between 18 and 34, and this is where we understand that not a lot of people are willing to vaccinate.
I fully agree with you. You know, the 18 to 34 is our population, predominantly 18 to 24. The reality is, Nqobile, is that South Africa needs young people to get vaccinated. It's not about the new variant or Omicron that we have seen, which is obviously creating a chaos and creating a lot of fear among all the population. The reality is, that if we have to be really scared of, is to be scared of 3 other variables that equally define the fate of our 4th wave or upcoming waves. The one is behavior. Our young people sometimes loosen the behavior far more quickly. It's not their fault, it's their youthfulness, and that leads a lot of guarding down and it makes the virus move very quickly from one individual to the other. That's why when you were at TUT, you saw a major cluster outbreak. The second question is young people, so youth itself. And so the behavior and then youth. And the last variable is vaccination. If the youth are not vaccinated, Africa is a youth continent, South Africa is a young country. Our median population is 27 years of age. If this cohort doesn't get vaccinated, we will never achieve the majority of our population vaccinated, which means the virus will keep on moving from one individual to the other and will find a body and it'll sit down and mutate. And we will be suffering from the same way. So this population getting vaccinated is inevitably important for this country's success going forward in both business continuity for our selfish needs of academic year to run.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof. Day from Higher Health, speaking to us about the higher education in terms of how they are trying to encourage young people on the ground to stick to vaccination.
Well, thank you very much for that update there. That's ENCA's Nqobile Madlala taking a look at the situation in as far as higher education is concerned as the debate around mandate.